The opening bout of tonight's Strikeforce Extreme card was Quinn Mulhern versus Yuri Villafort. The first round was pretty darn even. They had a takedown apiece. Nobody really dominated the fight. But in the second round, Mulhern's jiu-jitsu advantage really started to become apparent. That's a little strange to say, I know, given that Villafort is a black zillion from Florida, but he really looked outclassed on the ground because Mulhern was going for omoplatas and arm triangles and all sorts of submissions, and all Villafort could do was escape. But even when Mulhern was on his back, he had more offense in the fight. So I gave the second round to him, and the third round was all Mulhern. Villafort really didn't do anything offensive in that entire 5 minutes. The judges ended up scoring it a split decision, 30-27 Mulhern, 29-28 for Villafort, and 29-28 for the right man, Quinn Mulhern. Our second fight was a light heavyweight affair between Vacante and Derek Mayman, and this was a pretty one-sided fight, which Vacante completely dominated in the striking department, using leg kicks and jabs and hooks and everything else, and just having Mammon on the run the whole time. He even managed to catch him in the second round with a punch combo and a leg kick so hard that it swept Mammon right off his feet. That guy is going to have a hard time walking around for the next few days. The scores were 29-28 and 30-27 times 2, all for Vacante. Our third fight of the night on Showtime Extreme was a total slobber knocker affair as Guto Innocent took on Virgil Zwicker, who was trying to become the white version of the Korean Zombie, proving that no matter what he got hit with, and he got hit with a lot, mind you, he just would not die. Spinning back fists, jumping knees, hard right hands, shot after shot that would knock a normal human off his feet. Zwicker would eat them and keep coming. But that was the problem. He was eating a lot of shots, and he wasn't getting off nearly as many. This wasn't like Bad Boy Garcia versus Korean Zombie where they were going blow for blow. It was a one-sided affair, and Zwicker was on the losing end of it, so he lost the unanimous decision, 29-28 times 2 and 30-27. And in our final fight of the Showtime Extreme portion of the card, Isaac Vallie-Flagg faced Jesus Cavalcante and really impressed me by getting the better of the striking in the second and third round. He totally outworked Jesus, and it was amazing that they actually came up with a split decision for this one. One judge saw it 29-28 for Jesus, and I have no idea how, when he got his ass beaten in 2 straight rounds for 10 straight minutes. Regardless, the right man won the fight. Isaac Vallie-Flagg gets the split decision. The opening fight on Showtime did not go very long as Chris the Kiss Spang knocked down Nah-Shon Burrell with a left hand and followed up with a swarm of knees. Whenever his head was down, it was a knee to the head. Whenever his head popped back up, he'd hit him in the face to drop his head down again. He was out on his feet, but Josh Rosenthal waited until he fell down again to make the merciful save. The official time for the winner by knockout, Chris the Kiss Spang, was 1 minute and 35 seconds of the very first round. If you thought that fight was quick, though, the next one was even quicker, as Raphael Feija only needed 33 seconds to finish off Mike Mac Kyle. Feija did it by clipping him with an overhand right that dropped Kyle's head just enough for him to land a right knee flush, which sent him reeling backwards. He continued to pour on the damage after that, and then he jumped on for the guillotine while Kyle was standing there, and he tried to slam his way out of it, but he was probably already tapping as it went to the ground, because that only sunk in the guillotine choke even deeper, and he was immediately tapping out. It was all over. 33 seconds by submission for the winner, and that recap probably took longer than the fight. If the Gilbert Melendez Josh Thomson fight was the end of their trilogy, this was probably the most appropriate way to go out, because it was a very close fight with both guys doing a lot of damage. Let me start out by telling you the fight stats. These are from Showtime and Strikeforce. 120 out of 395 punches, 30% of Melendez strikes. 90 out of 204 for 44% of Thomson's strikes. Melendez, however, landed more power shots, 40-19. 25 out of 51, 49% of the ground strikes for Melendez, but 12 out of 15, 80% of ground strikes for Thomson. Melendez was 5 for 9 on takedown attempts. Thomson was 3 for 7. Thomson had 2 submission attempts. Melendez had none, and and Thomson had one of the most dominant positions of the fight, so he gets that 1-0. And the fourth and fifth round really were Josh Thomson's because he was getting takedowns, he was going for submissions. Thomson had Melendez in deep trouble at one point because he hit her right on the jaw, landed a head kick, and took his back and sunk in a deep rear naked choke. Melendez was able to pop his head out, but Thomson had a body triangle on him and kept going for it to the end of the round, and he kept up his striking in the fifth round, swinging the crowd in his favor, many of whom were actually booing the hometown kid Melendez as the scores were announced, and they were as follows: 48-47 Thomson, 48-47 Melendez, and 48-47 for the winner, and still Strikeforce lightweight champion Gilbert El Nino Melendez. In the main event of the evening to crown the winner of the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix and the holder of the Strikeforce Heavyweight title, Daniel Cormier and Josh Barnett went the full 5 rounds, and Daniel Cormier won every single one of those rounds. Well, not according to the judges. One judge actually gave it 49-46, but the other two scored it 50-45, and with good reason. Cormier was just outquicking Barnett every time they would exchange strikes. Cormier, even though he's the shorter fighter, was landing head kicks repeatedly. Cormier was taking down Barnett at will. He was busting him up with elbows when he did take him down. He had one of the most impressive slams I've ever seen in a fight. He was just totally dominant. I did not expect Josh Barnett to get outbeaten in every single aspect of the game, but Daniel Cormier was able to do just that. So he picks up the unanimous decision from all 3 judges, dedicates the win to his family, dedicates the win to all his teammates who kicked his ass in training every single day. And if it tells you anything, here's a little bit of the statistics from Strikeforce and Showtime. Barnett landed 80 of 228, only 35% of his strikes. Cormier landed 126 out of 245, 51% of his strikes. Cormier was 4 out of 5 on takedowns. Barnett was 0 for 2. I think that really says it all. Congratulations to Daniel Cormier, your new Strikeforce Heavyweight Champion and winner of the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix Tournament.